Last week in Louisville, Detroit City FC struggles at Lim Family Stadium continue. Ray Serrano gets the early goal here as Detroit City falls to Lou City by a score of 2-0. Their second game in a row where they have dropped points. Today, they welcome in a hot team in Monterey Bay, led by young sensation Elijah Paul. The Seasiders come into Keyworth this afternoon, and we break it down next on Soccer Night in Detroit.
Don't leave him alone. Don't let him shoot like that.
Can Nate Steinwasser deliver? Of course!
Today from Keyworth Stadium in Hamtramck, Detroit City FC welcomes Monterey Bay FC in a Week 5 clash in the USL Championship. Welcome to not so quite a rainy, clammy day, or what? It's still clammy. It's still blustery. It's not as blustery when the flag. I can see the flags up above as they're setting up here.
Thank God it's not raining, or we would be in the tunnel. We'll be actually in the tunnel, but it wasn't raining, so we're good.
No, we're good here. We're definitely good here. We got a match this afternoon, Detroit City FC. Kind of on a skids as of late.
Tell me about
dropping points in their last two matches. Of course, most recently, the 2-0 loss to Louisville City down at Lim Family Stadium last Saturday afternoon. They tried to bounce back, but it's not going to be an easy task this afternoon.
No, against our fellow expansion team, Monterey Bay, who entered the same year as Detroit City. They're not on Kids Will anymore. They are having a surefire great start to the season. 3-0-1,
and their only loss.
3-1, yes.
Yep, their only loss came against San Antonio FC, who has been eating up the Western Conference. So far this year, they're on the bounce back trail after missing the playoffs last year.
In the Great Western Conference pillow fight last year.
Yes, indeed. And this is not your father's Monterey Bay team, the same team that came up with us into USL Championship.
No.
They've actually got some players.
Yeah, big players. You mentioned one player, Elijah Paul. He's on fire. 4 total goals in all competitions, 3 goals, 2 assists, a high follow-ma rating of 7.68.
And I was mentioning this on Wednesday, Thursday on the Musings.
Yes.
96% shot attempts, chances created, 7% defensive actions. He'll take the ball away from you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's the key player that you gotta watch for this team. I mean, and
very dangerous.
Young kid too, coming up. He came here last year. He played for Ventura County FC
in League One
and Real Monarchs SLC
in Expo.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and he's only 22. He's only 22.
Yeah, he's a young. He's got a lot of potential in him, and a good pickup for Monterey Bay FC.
Oh yeah.
And he's really sparked that offense there. And they've scored in their matches thus far this year, as we as we look it up here.
11 goals.
11 goals in 3 matches this year for Monterey Bay, and they just came. And they just came off a USL Championship 3-1 victory over a struggling Phoenix Rising squad.
Oh, yeah. Who will face on next week? Oh, by the way, I have to correct you. It's 7 goals. And wait a minute. I think I'm adding the U.S. Open Cup game. Sorry.
Yeah.
They had 6 goals in 3 Cup games, 4 goals in the U.S. Open Cup game. Yeah. And unfortunately, a very good team. Also, I have to highlight another player. He's from Denmark, Antonio Horb. 2 goals, 1 assist. Also high for a mob rating of 7.63.
Another player to watch out for is Carlos Guzman, who scored the initial goal last week against Phoenix Rising. Has an 8.5 FOTMOB rating himself. Last week in the game, of course, 1 goal, 68% on the accurate passing, 70% on the long balls. Had one out of two defensive tackles there. His shot accuracy 1 out of 2, not bad. 50%,
I know.
50% shot accuracy there.
Yes, I see.
But the guy, he's an elder statesman for the club.
He's been there since day one.
Actually, he was there last year. He was originally with in USL Championship with San Diego Loyal, and then he came over last year.
After the club collapsed, folded because of a certain team.
He was the player of the match last week in their victory against the Phoenix Rising. But something happened. But the thing is with Detroit City right now, we're not sure what we're going to be coming out with, because last week, it's asked a lot of questions of this Detroit City squad.
I
and
know
their tenacity.
Yeah,
touches not, not finishing when they had key opportunities. We highlighted Giselle Cedeno's after the pass he had from Reese Williams early on in the match.
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
Yeah, the fact that he was just bobbling around the ball instead of getting the touch on and in the
playing
net.
Too cute. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, playing too cute, and then next thing you know, the defender comes down and helps out for Lou City, and then all of a sudden, that was a nil scoring opportunity there.
Tell me about it.
A lot of questions, though. A lot of reconfiguration of the lineup.
Yeah.
Shall we say? Devin Amu-Mensah being in for Shane Wheat.
He's back.
Almost.
Will he start today? Who knows?
Yeah, will he start today? Carlos Saldana.
Yes.
We didn't know if we don't know if he's injured. We don't know what's going on with him. He did not make the trip down to Lou City last Saturday afternoon. And obviously Carlos Herrera got the start in net to Tendon Makruva, the backup, this afternoon. So who knows what Detroit City side we're going to see this afternoon.
Yeah, the big question, who Detroit City side will show up? The team that did well, being Colorado Springs, the defending champion, or almost 85% of the match against Birmingham before the late accidental goal, or will it be the team against Lou City last week? We don't know.
The game against Birmingham we'll go back to a little bit, though. It was like pretty much, I don't want to say 70 minutes of football. Detroit City was, you give up the one goal. But regardless, it was to, I'm trying to think, Ronaldo Damas. You give up the one goal to Damas, you answer that equalizer, going back up into the lead, and then all of a sudden it's like they took the foot off the gas a little bit.
Foot off the gas and didn't respond. Stephen Carroll was there trying to clear it, but then when the angle was a little...
And that was on a set piece play there. It went right into the scrum, and next thing you know, own goal for Stephen Carroll there,
and we get a point. We drop points, and we didn't help our cause for not playing uninspired football last week. It was just a disaster.
It was a disaster, and this is how Detroit City. This is how. I don't know if you could say if Danny Dicchio wants it or not. This is how you sustain a. Everybody knows it's not a sprint; it's a marathon.
30 games.
It's how you answer in adversity, and they answered adversity real well in Colorado Springs.
Yes,
because Colorado Springs came out to the early lead. Next thing you know, Detroit City comes back and wins the game 2-1. So, how you answer back from adversity, especially from such a bad performance, despite the fact that they led in possession.
Yes.
And control the ball for most of the game, is just that Louisville was Louisville.
Yes,
they were just Louisville.
Yes, the fans, the place, the atmosphere, and hey, the Louisville fan was happy, and we were disgusted, brother.
Yep, and Louisville went back up to the top spot in the Eastern Conference with that victory. So we're still in third, 7 points.
Yeah, 7 points. Monterey Bay
behind Loudoun United, who has been surprisingly good as well.
That's another surprise this year, Loudoun.
Yeah,
where did the hell they came from? I don't know.
Some players, obviously, to help their cause, and that's a slowly building club there.
Yes.
Down in Loudoun. Virginia. And
although 25% is still owned by DC United.
Actually, no
Actually,
DC United affiliation whatsoever.
No, they bought out the 25%.
Yes,
Oh, I did
it's
not
all
know
independent there.
And now they're an independent club.
In fact, DC United does not have a 2 team.
Oh, I'm kind of surprised there.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yep. So they went, and Loudon's all on their own, and
Yeah,
they're doing quite
They're
well.
free. They're not tied to the MLS team.
Yep.
Thank God.
And they're showing it on the early side of the year thus far.
Wow.
In the USL Championship, but the Monterey boys are coming off of a I would say a crushing loss on Tuesday night
at the U.S. Open
at
Cup.
the expense of a team that is sponsored by a burrito shop. So we are doing a toast. We are doing a toast, and I bought these from Great Tacos Place down in near our new stadium. Down in Corktown, Mexican Town area, Evie's Tamales. I bought a couple breakfast burritos in honor of El Farolito. Cheers to El Farolito as they ended up beating out the Monterey Bay by a score 2-1, moving on to face Sacramento Republic in the next round of the U.S. Open Cup.
Good.
They are. Evie's makes the best. Most affordable food you can get. I'm gonna, big shout out to those guys.
Where is it, by the way?
It's on the corner of 24th and Bagley.
Not that far from the new stadium, right?
Not that far at all from the new stadium, as a matter of fact.
Really.
Right in the heart of Mexican Town there, in Detroit. And I'll tell you what,
tastes good.
Tastes
good. Breakfast burrito.
And their tamales, 10 out of 10.
Oh my,
10 out of 10. I will get them ad nauseum if I wanted to. But then again, I was telling the guy there, I think Gene, he was running things up when I was in there today, and good soccer guy in there. We talked for about a few minutes about Premier League stuff and whatnot, and he's looking forward to us coming down there in a couple years.
We will be there.
Yeah. So shout out to Gene from Evie's Tamales.
Tell to El Torrico.
El Farolito.
El Farolito. Thank you very much. 2-1. Let me look at that. One with an 84-minute kick from Edgar Keys that send Monterey Bay crying, but
yeah, I think Monterey Bay that night. I'm going back to that one here. Yeah. So let me. Monterey Bay that night. Their only goal was a
PK.
Gavalti, the Unalte with the penalty kick in the 28th minute of play, and then the second, Zalaga, and as you mentioned, Zalaga and Cree with the goals. Cree's goal came in the 84th minute of play, so late in the match. Great. Congratulations to them. They win the $50,000 prize for being the only
open
amateur team, open division amateur team standing in the cup.
Wow.
Congratulations to them for doing that.
Yeah, now they're
the darlings of American soccer.
And now they have a chance to try to face on Sacramento Republic, but Sacramento Republic, they got their touch back after their first round exit against Las Vegas Lights. But
they got their touch back period here. I mean, looking at the table here, they're sitting in 10th right now, 1-1-1. 4 points on the year. So they
didn't see that.
So
don't forget they have new ownership and a new
coach. Yeah. Neil Collins, formerly of
Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Exactly.
1 of 8 in the Western Conference. 8 of the 12 were all new coaches.
Even the Western Conference table winners, New Mexico United, ended up with a new coach. They ended up with the coach from Las Vegas.
Vegas Lights after their old coach went to the MLS, coach Dallas, and and they had to do a little deal. Can we have your head coach? We don't have a head coach, so
they made a deal. They made a deal with Jose Bautista to get him in there. I don't know if it was a deal with the devil, but
Yeah,
hey, I digress.
Probably a deal with the devil.
Other Open Cup news. You saw the Chatta Derby the other night.
I was a little bit busy following severe weather on Wednesday night. I saw the last 10 minutes of the Chatta Derby and the PK, and holy cow, this was emotional for us because we used to face on Chatta FC when we were in PSL, the friendly. Then we were in
NISA, of course.
Yeah, in NISA, and of course. I was hoping the original Chatta team would win, but no, it was a great game, 1-1.
It was a great game indeed. I mean, both goals coming early in the contest, both on set pieces, for either side there, and then it ended up going down to penalty kicks, in which Chattanooga FC missed on their first attempt, and looking at that kick,
okay.
I think it probably would have hit the post had the goalkeeper not stopped it.
Yeah,
it was not a good ball, not a good ball towards net.
I know.
It could have, it could have sneaked in either way. It could have hit the post, but that was the only mistake out of the whole penalty shootout for Chattanooga FC.
There was also another penalty kick. I think it was from Chatta Red Wolves, because they had to retake it because the rule for a penalty kick, the goalkeeper have to be behind the whole line.
Exactly.
You cannot false start saying, but they will pull the white flag that, nope, retake.
Nope. Yep, and they retook it. Chattanooga FC converted on that, and then they went to the final kick. Red Wolves converted.
Yeah.
Game over. Red Wolves move on, and the shenanigans started down in Chattanooga. Both teams just, there's no love lost for each other there.
Yeah, because of the backstory, because Chatta took away the USL territorial
Utah Bob.
Yeah, Utah Bob. They were all saying, and then one of the players from Chatta took the flag. It was the number 20 guy. I can't remember his name. I saw this on Eric Wolnall video, by the way. Soccer great. They tried to
unleash his podcast on YouTube.
Really good, by the way. They were trying to plant the flag on the center of their field, and one of the players said, no, and there was a brief scrimmage.
However, a fan and his youngin came out on the field. I don't know if this was after all the players got off the field or whatever it is. They ended up having to plant a flag on the road out on the field. So there was a flag planting taking place over at Finley Stadium.
You're right, and I think Chatta FC fans will now be, I don't want to say steamed, but steamed,
a little bit steamed. Chattanooga FC, obviously the first club in Chattanooga. They're the grassroots club. Of course, obviously the whole Utah Bob thing took away their territorial rights. Them going into USL, they have a distinct disgust for USL. I don't want to say hate, but they have a distinct disgust for USL. However, with all the shenanigans going on in NISA, they basically had no place to go. So next thing you know,
go to Next Pro.
They ended up going to MLS Next Pro, and it's not. I mean, not their. I'm not saying it's not their fault at all. It's just they had no place to go because the territorial rights were taken away.
They got hoodwinked.
Yep,
they got hoodwinked.
They got hoodwinked by Utah Bob.
This whole flag painting thing reminded me of what happened this year against Michigan Ohio State at Ohio State after we pulled off the upset. Although Ohio State still won, and Dave Bryant did job. They were celebrating, happy they beat Ohio State for the third or fourth year in a row. They were trying to plant the flag in the Ohio because the discuss us and Michigan fans, we don't like Ohio State.
Of course,
we make the joke. Sorry, Ohio, you're not eligible when mentioned broadcast rules. They tried to plant the flag, and holy shirt, Ohio boy took it, and it was a Donnybrook. Our flag almost got taken by Ohio State. Michigan player did. She's of Illinois nationally never trying to turn out the banner. Bob Buford, God bless him.
Way back, I think it was it the
73?
73.
I was born in 73. But
that was probably
I
think that was the 10-10 game in which Michigan ended up getting screwed over.
Yeah, by Michigan State.
Yep. as Michigan State
and we
denied them the chance to go to the Rose
and
Bowl.
we still don't like them. And yeah, everything cool. But honestly, flag planting. Come on.
I look at it this way.
Yeah, boy, you look at it this way.
It's all part of the rivalry.
It is.
It really is, and I'm here for it. I'm here for the shenanigans. I love it. I mean, it makes for good banner.
You're right.
Amongst both clubs and whatnot, and you like to see more of this going into. Like to see the local rivalries. Am I happy about Utah, Bob, buying the territorial rights to create the Road Bowls? Absolutely not. No. Because you extinguished a rivalry, and in that match, that was the first time those two teams had actually met on the pitch.
Yes.
There's been banter between them back and forth and all that stuff before this happened, and I'm sure there's a lot more banter going forward.
I know. But speaking of which, one more game I have to mention. I saw this game in penalty kicks as well. Portland Hearts of Pine. I know. I fancied their name a lot. They beat Hartford Athletic in penalty kicks as well.
Which a little bit of a segue here. Which is an opponent of theirs coming up in the Jägermeister Cup? We will talk more about that in a little bit. But
you're right. And the crowd is really great. They had to play the game in Lewiston, Maine. You know what I mean? And let me tell you, they have one of the nicest logos, the heart over the pine tree thing. It's a really good logo. And let me tell you, they were there for it, and they got the victory, and they're moving on.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Lewiston, Maine, by the way, was also home of another great sporting event.
Yes, it was. Back in 1964, a kid from Louisville, Kentucky, defeated Sonny Liston
in the revenge match of the bout in Miami. They had a hell in Louisville. They were going to do it in nearby Boston, but remember the times were a little bit different.
Yep.
So they were forced to have it at the smallest town ever to host a heavyweight title bout, and he won the rematch with some say the greatest punch ever thrown. Or was it?
Yeah, exactly. Was it a phantom punch, or was it just, did Sonny Liston fall on his own?
And by the way, he took a dive was invented on that night.
one of the great moments in sports history right there that happened in Lewiston. And another thing that happened a couple nights ago.
Yes.
Speaking of all the Open Cup stuff, we keep talking about Open Cup stuff. Our opponent was named on Thursday for the Open Cup, and I mentioned the fact that Portland Hearts of Pine and Hartford Athletic are part of the Jägermeister Cup group.
Yeah.
We are in a group with Jägermeister Cup teams.
Oh my.
And we get to host Westchester SC on
Wednesday, April 18th.
April 16th.
April 16th. That's
day after
7
tax
o'clock
day.
Here.
Yep. So it'll be our first meeting with them. Kind of a Jägermeister Cup preview there.
I have one question. I saw the draw on Thursday, and here's one thing. Was that a true draw, or was it invented by ChatGPT?
I would say ChatGPT, and I think they were looking at the Jägermeister Cup matchups when they were doing the draw.
One of 7 matchups in the round of 32 that are all Jägermeister Cup in their own groups.
So it's like, what are we doing here? Are we doing the Jägermeister Cup, or are we doing the U.S. Open? It's the U.S. Open Cup. We all know that.
And they decided to pair it by geographical predetermined. No draw in there. There was
hardly any draws except for was it going to be the home team? I mean, we were the first one. We were the first ones drawn out of the
You're right.
bowl.
Next to a group with Indy 11 and Louisville City FC.
Exactly.
We got picked first, and
next thing you know, we end up playing Westchester here.
And the other 2 teams in their group, I can't remember, Loudoun United and Miami FC. We have sort of owned Loudoun United. I don't know if we were going to say that when we face off. And we have been very successful with Miami FC. And now we're saying, oh, my God, what would have been the odds if we faced on Loudoun or Miami? But we get...
Yeah, we ended up getting Westchester. And then in the other pod in that group, Portland Hearts of Pine, they're taking on
Hartford.
Or not Hartford, but
Rhode Island FC, yeah.
Rhode Island FC.
You're right.
And, it seems like the whole group there is a Jägermeister Cup pod. It was like a Jägermeister Cup semifinal to get out of the what do you call it? To get out of the group or whatever.
The group of 16. And by the way, 1 of 7 matchups. I double checked before you got here. They're all facing off on the Jägermeister Cup in their respective groups. I checked
in weeks' time, basically. You know, our game against Westchester in July takes place here, obviously, and so this is going to be like kind of a sort of a preview. We'll delve a bit more into that as we get closer.
When we get closer and closer to it.
Yeah, when we get closer, especially on game day on April 16th.
April 16th, yeah.
But nonetheless, if you hadn't seen the video on the musings yet, I put together a great video about the women's MASL-W squad. Unfortunately, their season ended in a bad way last Sunday afternoon down in Urbandale, Iowa.
Suburban Des Moines.
Yep, the championship game there. 16-3 against Chihuahua Savage. And from what I understand, I was listening to Make City Make Sense on the way here. Chihuahua Savage, they have like multiple players that played on the Mexican international futsal indoor,
which is a little bit different than soccer, which they don't have no nets
I mean, the indoor championship for the World Cup of that particular for arena soccer, they had like 12 players that were part of that team. So we didn't have no chance. I was watching the game when they for the first goal. I said, okay, we'll try to get the goal. And then when it was 6-1, and when Kale Adams scored first, and then the big lady sung out at halftime at 11. I think the big lady sung at the end of the first quarter, in my estimation. But nonetheless, though, let's not dwell on that. No. It was a great season by the girls.
Great season. That
was 69 goal differential. Nice.
That was the last game of the season, the championship game. And there's no other games after the championship series or game. Yeah,
but most of these ladies will be back coming up in May for May 17th down in Ann Arbor for the first game in the USLW Great Lakes North Division.
The beginning of the possibly revenge season.
It is the revenge tour, shall we say.
I know.
And you know, knowing Dave Dwahey and his staff, they want nothing less than to erase the memory of the defeat here at the expense of the Colorado Storm in the national semifinals last year here at Keyworth. So, hats off to the ladies once again. Great season.
By the way, I want to do a toast. And by the way, since I know some people, and I haven't been asked, number one, I'm not being paid by Fago, the Pro Dirt products, and we love their stuff. And by the way, they're the official soda of DCFC.
Absolutely.
And they do invent a lot of great soda. I just handed you pineapple, watermelon.
I have not tried this one yet.
Okay. That's one of their flavors. And their new flavor, which was released last week, it's on sale wherever at Thor Meyer. Bubblegum Pop.
Yep, and they also have another one. I think it's a Superman type flavor.
I will bring it on Wednesday when we talk about their game next week in Portland, but it smelled like bubble gum. I tried it. It's really great, by the way. So cheers to that day, and also
cheers to the women.
And cheers to the women as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, great season. Oh, that is very tangy. I like that one.
Oh, yeah.
I like that one. The mix of pineapple and watermelon on that one.
And I love it. It smells like bubble gum right here.
Yep.
When you open
it's a little bit too sweet for me.
Okay.
I'll have to say that. I mean, I tried both of those, and even the Superman one, a little bit too sweet for me. This is the pop.
Yeah. You bring the burrito, I bring the soda pop. Every game on Saturday night Detroit.
There we go.
Cheers to Fago, the official pop of DCFC.
All right.
Okay.
I think we're done with the plugs here. Let's go to the pick-up here.
Okay, I forgot that before we wrap it up.
Yeah, we got the pick-up coming up here. I did count the match against the Iowa Demon Hawks.
Okay.
So this guy right here had a 6-point day on Saturday. He predicted that Detroit would lose to Lou City. which they did.
Yeah.
And we both predicted a victory in the MASL-W semifinal.
Yeah, we didn't do the finals because we couldn't.
We couldn't do it. We couldn't do it that
We're
day.
busy,
But he's up. He's up 12-9 as far as that goes. How are you looking at this afternoon?
This afternoon game, I think Monterey Bay, coming from the West Coast, they're probably going to be tired playing their second game in a few days, and they're probably angry losing in the Open Cup. But Detroit City,
beware of that. We saw that a couple weeks ago with Birmingham Legion.
I know, yeah. I am going to say 2-1 City.
Okay.
2-1 City. Okay. I think Darren Smith will be a factor, depending on who will start. That's going to be interesting. You know
I was thinking about this on the way here. I don't know, not knowing what you picked, obviously. Yeah. I was thinking, and I've heard all predictions. I mean, USL show went one win for Monterey, draw, and then a win for Detroit City. Yeah. I was listening to Make City Make Spence earlier. They all said 1-1 draw here. I was thinking to myself on the way here, and not knowing what you were going to pick, I was going to go with 1-0. I'm going to stick with 1-0, and I say Jacil Cedeno redeems himself.
He got to redeem himself.
He will redeem himself and score for Detroit City in a tight match, which is I would think is going to be a tight match. Wind's going to be a factor. Weather's going to be a factor here this afternoon.
And by the way, when you have a third-place team against a third-peak team, everything is on the line. Will Monterey keep their momentum with the?
They have not been held scoreless all year long. So they've been held scoreless once, and that was to San Antonio FC.
And by the way, will City redeem themselves after a couple of, I don't want to say poor performances, one year late against Birmingham and against Louis City last week?
It's going to be a much needed victory or a much needed point today for Detroit City to get off the schneid, shall we say.
Before we wrap it up, let's mention all the viewing options. You could see the game live in living color, 4 o'clock on CW Detroit 50, WKBD TV. If you're outside or not near TV or have an app, it's on the CBS Detroit website. Click on a computer, or you could click on CBS News, select Detroit under the local section, and when you see the Watch Live button, you're there. Or if you're not access to either the CBS News site or the website, it's on ESPN Plus, right?
Correct. So 3 different options for today's matchup here. And don't forget, plug here, USL is on CBS tomorrow. San Antonio FC taking on Phoenix Rising.
Yes, and they're in San Antonio because guess what's happening this weekend in San Antonio? The Final Four.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Michigan State is not in it because we got handed it by Auburn.
I'm not watching the Final Four this weekend. I'm watching a lot of soccer. That's all I know.
I know, and I'll be watching the women's Final Four. Paige Bicker lifting the title again, and she's going in the.
Unfortunately, no Big Ten, no bueno.
No Michigan or Michigan State.
No Big Ten, no bueno.
Yeah, you're right. Let's wrap it up.
All right, we're wrapping it up here. Catch us after the match with analysis and all kinds of fun stuff.
And by the way, before the game, we'll give you a team lineup.
Absolutely. Look for that on the Faithful page, Facebook, Blue Sky. Also put it on TikTok as well. Okay. Until we meet again, folks, keep your feet in the ground or on the ground and keep reaching for the galaxy.